I think a big part of healing, like when you said the relationship they had with their body, when there's care and love and assistance through the process and people can see like, oh, you know what, someone actually does care about me and can support me, then they start to care for themselves, and just little by little by little stripping away the layers and realizing like, oh, I can have life and I can have health, and I believe, and it was like this consistent message every day of like, you can become whoever you choose. I don't care if you're terminal cancer. I don't care where you at. If you have that bit of hope and you're alive for a reason. And this has happened to you for a reason. You can either use that reason to become something great, change the world and fulfill your purpose here on earth, or you can stay where you're at and believe that you're going to die and what the doctors have told you and all these things. And it's a choice. And when you have that consistent message and juices and sunshine and peacocks and ducks and nature and people supporting you, I don't know how you don't completely transform. And one of the most magical things is at the end of these programs, we would go down to this place called the Ozarks. This was in Missouri. And we would float down this river called the Current River in these big canoes. And so we'd all have our little teams and canoe down the river. And some people that could hardly get out of the car when they arrived were like climbing the cliffs and jumping in the water and just being playful. And it was, it was transformational experience for me to see that, what, at the core of every human being actually is just this inner beautiful child that just wants love and connection. I think it was probably the most powerful thing that I got out of the entire experience, is that every human being, because when these people showed up, it would all the judgment and just the, judgment from me. I'm 13 and this person's morbidly obese and hooked up to machines and kind of angry and frustrated, to the end, like being that same person's nearly like best friend and sitting and listening to the wisdom and their experiences behind all that. It really informed me on a level of like, what, every human being is actually good at the core. There's just a lot of trauma and things that have happened. And so I think it changed the way I saw people, my teachers, people I didn't like, my enemies and whatever. I started to have this kind of seed planted of, what, it's not actually who they truly are. And if I make the choice to crack through those barriers, like with any individual, I actually have the power to develop a beautiful relationship with anyone in life. And any judgments and enemies that I have is actually my fault, because I have the power to seek to understand, have courtesy and manners, respect, and communicate to some degree. And of course, that's been a lifelong journey, but the seed was planted early on enough that it, gave me that power to really like connect with people, I think, on a different level.
I think that's amazing that you think that at every human being's core is a good person. So what do you think then informs people's decisions when they don't operate in a good way?
Trauma. Plain and simple. We have a mother and we have a father, and that's our first experience of life. And so if my father traumatizes me, then I form an opinion about men in general. Or if my mother doesn't give me the love or experience or traumatizes me, then it informs me about mothering and what I have to do to be worthy of a woman or worthy of love and nurturing and these sorts of things. So I think it really starts there with trauma. And, for some people like myself, it was just missing. I didn't have a father. So it was just like this missing thing. But yeah, coming back to your question, I think that whatever traumatic experiences people have in childhood, especially the first 7 years, are considered the most formative. And these are deep subconscious things that we're unaware of. And it's really the subconscious that's just kind of like running our lives. So if I was traumatized by a teacher, by a man or brother or whoever it was throughout my life, I'm probably going to judge and attract these kind of experiences of having these constant issues with business partners and men and oh, always trying to take my stuff, or this kind of combatant type of experience, until I really go deep and back and heal these traumas and these wounds. And this is the thing about the ancient cultures, is they taught that the most powerful experience for healing trauma is self-reflection. And the highest level of self-reflection is to go into seclusion and fast.